it was the first time in my life where kind of music was like, someone had said to me, yo, it's not about what you like you gotta make something. Like, it was the first time I got shown a Radio 1 playlist and just told, make a tune that fits into that.
I want to say good afternoon to Maxsta.
What's going on, mate? Yeah.
It's been a while, man.
Yeah, it's all good.
Yeah, man. What's the last time I bumped into you? Was it like 016? It was in the old building.
Yeah. 2016. Where is that?
That was what? Tottenham Court Road.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember we were talking on DMs at that point.
Yeah.
And I remember you was like, I think it's like, what I remembered about that time is that you were really on your strategic thing. Like, you had like a method to what you was doing. He's like, I've been studying the game, I've been seeing this and that. But in 2016, you came out quite, was it like 2 or 3 videos you released that year?
Yeah, proper kind of limited output. Yeah.
So, just in that year, where was your head at? Because you seem like you were studying a lot, where the game was at.
Like, firstly, I was literally doing a music production diploma at this place called the London School of Sound. And the reason why I wanted to do that was just I'd come so far with making my music and getting to a point where I felt like this ain't where it's at for me. Like, this, like I weren't too happy with my own music in terms of how it sounded and like just sonically, like on a proper creative one, you know what I mean? So I wanted to go and do something about it, you know what I mean? I thought that was the next step really for me, was like, you know, delving into like the sound a bit more. And so I went from like 2016, I think that's when I did the music production diploma. That's really when I started producing, like really and truly. So I just did that for about 1.5 years. It was meant to be a 2-year diploma, but like I was so on it because I knew I had something that I was really trying to use it for. So I was so on it. I kind of just banged it out quick, and yeah, got straight into the studio, man. Like, and just started kind of putting the ideas that I had in my head to fruition. But yeah, for that year, it was like, I'm definitely a guy who schemes and like thinks about things a lot. But it was like, yeah, it was like I kind of learnt that there's something I have to do now if I'm gonna extend, like really put some years into the life of this Maxsta project. I need to kind of dip out of it and go and bring back some more skills, man. Yeah, that's how I felt.
I mean, someone so young to make that adjustment, because this is just after the Sony situation. So when you first go into that, like the class, did you feel not like I'm too big to be here, but was it pride, ego, or were you just like...
Do you know what, yeah? It was like, obviously, it was like I said, it was called the London School of Sound, and it was in Clapham Common or something like that. And it was kind of discreet, and a lot of the students were like international students that had come over to do their diploma. So I think for like the first 2-3 weeks, I was cool, like no one knew like I was Maxsta and none of that. I was loving it. Like, not like I don't want to be Maxsta or nothing, but just like, when I'm going there, it's like I'm literally going there to go and learn something, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, I was cool, I was coasting, and I can't remember who it was, but like either like the receptionist or someone was like, yo, like I've like seen you somewhere, and I was like, what, in the area? And he's like, nah, like you do music and all that stuff. And then eventually it was like, I can't hide from it, you know what I mean? This is what I've come to do. It's just that because it's a production place as well, it's like I know how people are, and obviously people want to try and make me like, oh, come in and like spit on my beat or da. But it's like, obviously I'm not here as Maxsta per se in the situation, you know what I mean? So it was techie, and I'll be honest with you, there were times, because I literally went from like being with Sony and doing all of that and then like transitioning to that, there was times where I was like, rah, man, like, am I even supposed to be doing this? Like, is this the right, like, rah, like, are you sure? Like, is my life going in the right direction by me doing this right now? Like, and sometimes I weren't sure, man, but obviously it's definitely like, I'm happy I did it. Like, and it was part of the plan for a reason at that time. I know the sort of person I am, I would never do something so extreme, like actually go and do a whole production diploma if it wasn't supposed to be, I guess, yeah, I don't know, yeah.
I mean, going back a bit to, obviously, the Sony period, I think we were talking about this before, and I remember when your signing happened, I remember you did like, was it the Tracy Chapman freestyle or remix or something on SB?
Yeah.
Was it, you was in a garden or something? Or,
Yeah. I think that was in like, that was like Jamal's mumsy's house or something.
Big garden, bro.
Yeah. Something like that, I can't remember.
Yeah, and I remember like at that time, and I say this to your management and your team, I was like, there was no other grime artist signed on a major label at that point. So when that deal first happened, were you aware of how big or how groundbreaking it was at that time?
Nah.
Really?
I was just, obviously I was, I'm sure I felt very appreciative, and things felt like a lot was happening, but because that was so the mission from like a young age was for things to happen. It was like, I got to the place where things were happening, and it was just like, it was probably more thinking like, where, cool, you got to make sure, like, I was just trying to be on point. Like I was having fun and that, definitely was on some wild stuff with my mates here and there, but it was more like me just thinking, I used to go in that Sony building and I'd look at everyone and I'd be like, this still's not going to last forever. So obviously they're my mates, but they're not my, like, not like that. But I was like,
but did you this is that on early?
That's how I went in the building. I just thought, I'm just here to do my best and leave the best lasting impression and do like whatever comes from what we do together. But at the time I just felt like, this is gonna go for a certain amount of time. Like literally, I swear to you, even like before like we parted ways and stuff, I was literally like to my dad and my sister, like, yo, the last video shoot I did, I was like, obviously because I hadn't been bringing them, because we just been doing the man them thing, and like, I was like, yo, yeah, come to the shoot. But because I knew in my head it was like, this phase, we're on that, like this phase is on its way out now, you know what I mean? But I'm on point, man. I know what's going on.
I feel like I said to you before, I feel like you were a bit of a guinea pig, because being so young, having that deal.
Shabba.
Being so young, having that deal.
Yeah.
And was it I Wanna Rock? That went top 40, isn't it? I think it went top 40.
Just about. No, it was like 42 or 43.
It was top 40, man. We're gonna claim top 40. It was close enough.
Yeah,
but it's like, even then, that's groundbreaking.
Yeah, for sure.
Like those times, we ain't talking about streaming numbers. Like we're not talking about like Spotify wasn't.
Yeah, like real, like just the people buying it and stuff. Yeah.
So okay, so when that happens, when you do part ways, like, how did you feel? Like, did you feel disappointed? Were you just ready for a new chapter?
It was just a weird one, because it was an insight into like the music industry in a mad way that I'd never seen it before, in terms of just being a kid from like East London that's got a hobby to spit in the youth club and the usual thing, yeah. So it was good to see the industry thing. I was like, them times there, I was like sending my mum up and down the place, like sending my mum to Vegas, like regular, doing all that, just doing mad, like cool.
Splurging?
Yeah, like not so much on me really. I was living in that, and my parents made me buy certain things back home and stuff like that, like. But yeah, there was a meds in place. It just probably looked like madder than it was. I think I was trying to make it look like we was on some wild, like just doing, like I was trying to make it look like I didn't know what was going on. If I think at times, but yeah, it was after it basically. I just felt like it was the first time in my life where kind of music was like, someone had said to me, yo, it's not about what you like you gotta make something. Like, it was the first time I got shown a Radio 1 playlist and just told, make a tune that fits into that. Do you know what I mean? So that's basically about it. Like, it was a proper learning curve, because you can't shy away from the industry and what comes from it. But I definitely just made sure I learned a lot of back end stuff that kind of guides my understanding of things that I'm even doing now. And it's a priceless opportunity. I just look at it as like a priceless opportunity in general. Just like, come on, man. Like, obviously I'm from Sierra Leone, man. You know what I'm saying? So like, my parents like came to this country just from like literally from the village and that, you know what I mean? Not like poor, like not completely poor or nothing, but just, you get me? Like, for me, it's like I grew up to like being in Peckham and like immigration trying to boot off the door, you get me? And like my grandma hiding underneath the bed, like, you know, like real life, you know? So everything, not to like bleed it like that, but just for me, I'm a bit more appreciative, because like I'm from Sierra Leone, I'm in touch with like where I'm from. It might not seem like it, because sometimes man's doing wagwan and what's good, mate, and all that. But yeah. I think for me, I think that has changed my whole, just how I looked at everything. But yeah.
Alright, so we're coming up to the new release, but like, just in general, like, I think you're one of the strongest people I know. You've been through a lot at a young age, but like, what's kind of like kept you through like the highs and the lows? The feeling of achieving, and like having a taste of it makes me know what it is. So I'm like, rah, like, depending on the decisions I make,
I could live in the feeling of achieving. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't have to be just, oh, I've done this and I've done that. I could literally just like live in that realm of just achieving things. So I think more than anything, that's probably what keeps me going, because it's like, yeah, like it's just one of those things where from like the deals, like family stuff and stuff like that, it's just like, I think out of everything, like in terms of a feeling, like the feeling of being on stage, the feeling of like someone coming up to me saying like they like my music or things like that, those things are like, it just feels mad, like in a sense of a bit more than, I probably appreciate it more than I should, if you know what I'm saying.
Because you know what the thing is, and I said this to Lyndon before,
Yeah.
There's not too many people that I could think could actually spin you.
You reckon?
I don't even know who could. But it's like, and
heard that one. Yeah.
No, but I think you're an elite MC.
Yeah, respect, man.
But I think what a lot of people have questioned is does Max really want it like that? Because we haven't seen you for so long.
Yeah.
Do you get me? There's been gaps in it, like, but like, now with this new project, like, you're not gonna bounce again from it.
No,
you're here to stay.
No, like, I'll be honest, yeah, it's way deeper than this project at this point, how a man's looking at everything, you know what I mean? It took a while to get to a place where, literally, like, to just go and say, oh, you're just going to produce everything and da-da-da, that was, if I'm going to break it down to someone who doesn't possibly care about the things I care about, like, someone could be watching this and not should be so inclined to certain things, like, when I grew up, in terms of how grime goes, like, I was literally in the I had the keys to the Raw Deep studio when I was like 16, 17. Like, I had my own key, you get me? Like, a man was with Wiley, Target, Danny. I grew up like hearing the actual sound. Like you get me? Like, so when things got to a place where it's like, I'm not saying that it's completely disappeared, the sound that I do or the sound that I know, but it got to a point where it's like, based on priorities, like if it's not Predator or like Certain Man or like, or Spyro, like, I was having trouble with like, or Teddy, Rude Kid, Couple Man, like Maniac, Mr. K. There's a lot of people to hail up, to be fair, but away from like that, there was a certain niche thing that I'm looking for, because I grew up in the thing. Like, I grew up with like Bless Beats' MacBook, I grew up with Wiley's MacBook, like, do you know what I'm saying? So it's like, I just had a sound and I needed to get to it. And obviously that sound's going to progress. I don't know what's coming next, but it was important for me. It was like a pivotal thing for me to be like, the whole thing about me doing music is like, oh, everybody thinks, yeah, like, oh, Maxsta, yeah, you MC, safe, like, so you probably, they think they know it all, in the sense of like, there's probably someone out there thinking, oh, like, Max has not been about, oh, Max ain't on nothing, he's not sick, I don't rate him, like, that's the old stuff. People could say that, do you know what I mean? But in my head, I think, you know what, yeah, do you know what Maxsta is? Yeah, I'm still an MC. I'm still all the different pockets that I fit into. But I'm here. By the end of it, I'm here to be like a real musician. Like, in the long run, like, away from this music, like, rapping thing. There's so much I want to do in music. There's so much I want to like do. I'm like a music guy, in the sense of, when I was young, like, everyone probably thought I would be like a music teacher or something. Like, I was the kid that was the best in the music class in every school. Like, when like, I remember when I left my school in South to move to East, what did the music teacher say to me? He was like, Ian, man, like, it's proper, like, sad to see you go, like, boom, 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 you have been like one of the best students I've had over in like my 8 years of teaching. And he's like, brother, he was like, you're amazing at every single musical instrument that you touch, like, so boom, 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 just good luck in the future, you get me? And I was like, yeah, like, that's my life course, you know, like, being Maxsta and doing music fits into it perfectly, because I get to express myself and like be part of a sick culture and but it's like, yeah, it was more, I guess that's why it was important for me to get the sonics right, because I'm not just here to just rap. Like, I'm here to do there's some things I want to do in the future, man. I just need to do stages and stuff.
So like November 30th, it comes out.
Yeah.
How you feeling about that? Like, is it pressure, or are you just more relaxed now because you're on your own terms, so to speak?
Do you know what? Yeah, it's always pressure, because it's about how people are gonna react to it. You know what I mean? So I'd be lying if I said I didn't feel like, oh my God, like, what's the reaction gonna be? Full stop here. But when I think about where I'm at in my journey, in terms of like, okay, I've been here before, but really in the process of genuinely rebuilding, but we've really like gone to the foundation and built it up properly, and this is the start of a new foundation. I'm like, you know what, I've literally got, I'll be doing music for they'll be hearing my voice for at least another 10 years, you know what I mean? So this is the start of that phase, like, you know what I'm saying? This is like when I look at all the older lot in grime that are getting on now, I think, 10 years ago, I might, if you probably look at it, I might be experience-wise and CV-wise quite close to what they were doing. So I'm like, just on that journey, basically, you know?
Yeah. Would you ever see yourself signing to a major again?
Yeah. But just, I would be a different, I would hope, like, say, like, even now, it's like, I'm a producer, like, so it's a different thing, like, how's man gonna tell me how it's gonna sound now? Like,
you're creating the sounds.
If I'm the producer, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, obviously, they're not saying that I wouldn't, if man said to me, like, yo, work with man, like, I would like to work with producers all the time. Like, I'm not on some, I would only spit on Max's thing, but it's just, there's a Maxsta vibe and the world doesn't know what it is yet. So when I express it, then other producers can come and take part, you know what I mean? But yeah, I would definitely sign to a major, man. Definitely, just because there's benefits to it being done in the right way.
So did you produce the whole mixtape?
Yeah, every track, man.
Every track?
Yeah.
All right, so people sometimes say that artists spit better on other people's beats. Like people say that J. Cole's sick, but he doesn't sound as good on his own beats. But with you, you sound as good as. You get what I mean?
But
so how do you balance out, like, if you're like, nah, you know what, I don't think that lyric maybe fit that beat, or I don't think that beat's gonna match up. Like, because I'm just thinking, is that like a conversation with yourself, or how do you gauge that?
It's a vibe thing a lot of the times, man. You know what I mean? And like, see me, I record a lot and I experiment a lot, like, in a sense of, say, like, it took me a year and a half, or no, it took me like a year and a half to release like a beat that I actually, to actually put my voice on a beat and put it out. Like, I'd already been spitting on them in my house, but, you know, like, in terms of the process for you to even hear that first actual vocal, like, word to Lynn knows there's probably about 50, 60, 70, like, do you know what I'm saying? In the last 2 years, I've probably spat on, like, I must have spat on, like, at least 100 of my beats by now, at least. And just on some gearing up to be a producer that's ready to go out there and do it, you know what I mean? So obviously, I remember I saw this interview where Noah, Drake's producer, he said that basically, like, they train hard, like they're going to war. Like, when they're in the studio getting ready for the album, it's like, it's a secret process, you don't really get to see it, but they're going so ham that you couldn't believe it. And then when they bring it out to the world, they just shrug it off and act like, yeah, man, like, we was in the club last week, like, so it's like, that's what I'm on, man, just sharpening the pen so much. Like, I made 10 beats yesterday. 10? Not finished, like, sketches and stuff, but on my life, like, I made 10 beats yesterday. That's how I'm moving, like, and that's just, my mixtape's finished. It's submitted, you know what I'm saying? I'm gearing up for the techers that I need for the next stuff, and, you know, yeah.
I'm glad you said that, man, because it's like, it shows that what we don't see is your work rate. Because I think what you just said before about, like, how Drake and 40 and how they do their things, because, like, bro, like, I've heard some of the stuff, like, previously, and I'm just like, you've got so many joints, bro.
Yeah.
It's just, how do you decide which
it was just about it making sense.
Yeah, how many have you got on this on the project?
On this one, 15.
15. Okay. Outside of J and me, is there anyone else featuring on it?
Obviously, there's the tune with Inch, and then there's the tune with, I got a tune with my brethren Stealth, who was on, like, my first Maxtape. We got Lilo Gold. We got a song with a singer on there. But basically, for this one, away from things like, Inch was just like a cool person to have spit on one of my beats, and, like, represents the culture in a way where it's like, he murked it, like, in a sense of, when he jumped on that tune, to be honest, other than on some remix thing, I couldn't really tell you what Grime MC could have done that. So it's like, it was a sick musical moment for me as a Percy, you know what I mean? So it's like, I wanted those type of moments. I just wanted a few of those, like, Percy moments, like, bro, we got something with interest, like, it will undeniably be cold till the day where I've got a you know them ones, and that life is going on. It will be cold forever. So it's done. And then JME, the Born on Your Own tune, it's like, for me, there's a lot of Percy's about it, even in the sense of just how I made it, how I knew when I was making it, I knew I knew what he was gonna say, and he said it. Like, you know what I mean? It's just like a Percy thing for me. So, but obviously, yeah, it was just like the mixtape how I wanted it to be. Just a couple splashes of some outside stuff that I rate, but mainly just kind of focusing on what's been missing in which is just kind of like an extended Maxsta listen. Like when I see people in the street, they come up to me, oh, Maxsta, wait, man. And I got a strong urge of feeling like I know I've got a lot of fans that really rate my music, and a part of me just wants to give them that. Like I need to give them that one, and then obviously after that, to be honest, we'll do like a lot more like collaboration for the sake of collaboration, etc. But like, yeah, this was just so stepping into 2019 is like everybody knows this is the Maxsta sound. If you care, like if you're a producer and you thought you was gonna pitch a beat to Maxsta, bruv, listen to my tape. You probably hear me spit on some stuff that you would have never thought I liked or whatever. But just it's just a new Maxsta stamp, and then we can move forward. It's like, you know, yeah.
Yeah, bro. Yeah, fans, man. Like Linz will know about when I talk to me. I'm like, I can say like, yo, when we get a Maxsta show, bro.
Yeah.
You know that.
I actually never done a show like a headline like show like that.
This is what I'm like.
Yeah, that's crazy.
But and the thing is that I just think like, bro, like no one's ever gonna question your talent.
Yeah.
And I think now that you've added the musicality with the production, and then now even with this interview, you're talking about all the things you're doing behind the scenes.
Yeah.
I don't think no one can question
your
work rate and application. But what I would just say, like in closing up, what do you reckon are some of the lessons you learned on the journey in creating your new mixtape?
And on the journey of creating my new mixtape, what's the lessons I learned? Especially from a musical standpoint, I think I learned that it helps to like kind of study the history of like rap music, grime music, whatever it may be. It helps to go back to like the 90s and listen to Big Pun and like Capital Punishment and stuff. It helps to understand as a musician. It helps to understand the classics, because when you understand the classical feel, then you can replicate it. Like, but if you know it, like I guess that's one of the biggest things I really learned. It just in the creative process, aside from like learning the old stuff and making sure you know that, then it's like it's just that balance between, I guess, being appreciative and knowing what's going on, but not being too influenced. Like still being able to kind of be like, okay, you know what, this tune, you might have a tune where you're like, oh, this don't sound like nothing else, so I'm not too sure. But it's like if you feel it and it sounds like you, then you might just be in the process of making the first sort of stuff of its kind or something, you know. So yeah, that's what I learned. Just be yourself. But anything you're doing, so if it's not music, whatever, just like study everything. Like when I talk about music, I talk about it from a standpoint of someone that's like listened to too much, studied too much, done like read all the Jay-Z lyric books, like read everything. So it's like, yeah, but to be honest, me myself, I like talking to people that know about music because I want to know more. Basically.
That's impressive. And this is not to like down grime, but grime, when people are grime, you just think they just listen to grime, because grime's actually a culture.
Yeah.
Do you understand? So whenever you say like Big Pun, Capital Punch, I'm thinking like, bro, were you even born when the album came out, bro?
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Not, fam, but yeah. So we saying like you're kind of surprised that man listen to different stuff, or what? I know you ain't probably, but I know the other.
Yeah, but I think like the consensus is this is kind of like came out of East London. This is because it's actually a culture and a way of living. But when you're like talking about like you're reading the lyrics, you're paying attention. I'm not saying that other people can't, but we never really see that infused into grime in any way. I think to close it up, like I said, Dave, lastly, what's important about how my position in terms of going forward is like I'm not part of that like Wiley generation and that per se. But because I'm just not part of it. But I was there, like so I'm like I don't know whether you're a second generation or third, but just like one that was there. So it's like I wasn't listening to Deja Vu. Come on, mate. You know what I'm saying? I don't know what I was doing, but I never listened to Deja, but I was there. You know what I'm saying? And so my influence is now different in the sense of even before that. Let's be real, them man. I don't know what Dizzy Rascal or whoever's influences were, but it was like before I was really locked in. Before I even moved to East London, when I was going to school in Bermondsey and living in Peckham, I was already listening to 50 Cent and Eminem and walking around school with a bop. You know what I'm saying? So it's like. It's just one of those things where it's like, I feel like it's important for people to know that there's different people, like just because you could be like a grime MC doesn't mean, oh, it's exactly, you know what I mean? Like, and especially now, there's people younger than me who like, they like grime, but
they're like from the trap kids generation and stuff, so it's all different, man. So obviously if you care, just understand it a bit, guys. Yeah, you know.
Max, I'm gonna leave it there. But you got any last word for your fans, bro, man?
Maxtape 2, man. Yeah.